they practice on different nights, which means tonight's the first night I haven't been in Bartlett between 5 and 7 every Monday through Thursday for the past 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Just sitting in the gym.
But you will be there.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not physically there right now. I have just been sitting in the gym.
Okay, so that by the time you got in practice and you drove home, like you just have to go back.
Yeah. I forget how far it is. Like from here to the school, it's like a solid
9 miles.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, anyway, whatever.
Yeah. You'll look back at that.
My chauffeur days.
All right, well, call it order. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Review the minutes. I already see one thing, we approved the November meeting minutes last month, not October.
Do they go back and make these changes when they post it?
I think it's,
I always thought it was strange that they posted the draft meeting minutes before they were approved.
Yeah, they never used to do that.
No, you have to. I think
They
you
have
have.
to?
I think you have to post them within 20 the draft within 24
Oh,
hours.
right, yeah.
So
Okay.
people can know what happened at the meeting.
Okay,
Right, because
Or there's some time.
because those are
set,
not
but-
official until they're,
Yeah, but I think that's the way that if you didn't have videography, that the townspeople could know what happened in a faster than a 1 month time lag.
And just a little clarification, it's not park in code, it's parking. Not a big deal.
he does a good job.
But he does an excellent job. Can't imagine how hard it is to try to transcribe this.
I just can't remember whether we agreed to have the names in there, who said what, as opposed to just, this is what was said, not that it matters that much either way.
I thought we weren't going to do that.
I thought so too, that's why.
I don't know, I think the other boards have names, right? Or do they have titles?
I would say he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Well, there was that short window. Really, like, if you spoke, it was said.
Yeah, but it was.
It was like,
Yeah.
What do we do with the paperwork for
yeah, exactly.
If there are no other typos, I'll make a motion to accept.
This matters so very little, but there's actually 13 kids in the grade 5-6 class, not 11. So, for anyone really paying attention at home, who's really counting.
Indivisible numbers, but
Yeah,
That's a good sized class.
yeah, it is. Yeah,
That's 5, 6?
that's 5-6.
What's the total in the school now? Like 50 something?
Oh, no, not quite that much. I want to say it's mid-40s right now. There's a big 4th grade class and a big 2nd grade class. It's big right now.
I second Ken's motion.
okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay. Prospect Farm.
The only thing I have on Prospect Farm, and it's a question to Tom, is last time you were gonna check and see whether you had that history.
I didn't dig out my old computer yet.
Okay,
I thought about it today when I was home. When Stella was sick. I was like, maybe during nap.
I'll send you,
Yeah.
I'll bug you with email.
Yeah.
But I know the feeling I thought about doing it.
Yeah, literally at like 1 o'clock today, I was like, I was supposed to do that before the meeting. Pretty sure I even know what box the dead laptop is sitting in, or old laptop.
Okay.
Although I did try to, this actually brings up, I don't know how to access the full Google Docs drive. I wonder if you could invite me again.
Okay.
Because I could see part of it, but not all of it. Like I could see the easement parts through the link I was finding in my email. Which
Okay.
probably means I just deleted
Yeah, if you could resend that, because I forgot how to get in here as well, because I also wanted to look up, well, we can get to it when we get to the Jackson Falls, but I wanted to look up the hydrology study. If I'm gonna go back and kind of do like what I did with Prospect Farm, I'd like to see what the full history was as opposed to reinventing the wheel.
Okay.
And I don't know whether it's there or not.
I believe it is.
It is, yeah,
Uh,
because I was gonna ask somebody here if they had it. But if it's there, then,
It's either there or on the town website.
okay.
Maybe Brian has it in his 3-ring folder.
I'm gonna bring them.
I know, but he has to stick everything in there. And it's old enough, it
It's
might be,
big.
it
It's
might
in
be
a box,
in
though.
there,
There's a box with 3-ring folder. It's not organized enough.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe I'm jumping the gun to get to Jackson Falls here, but I assume we finished with Prospect.
Oh, I have just two quick things with Prospect. One is that I did talk to the 5-6 teacher at Jackson Grammar, and they are interested in doing another apple orchard kind of ski day up there.
Okay.
And so I would love to try and coordinate, I don't know, Brian, if you're available to do that, or Dudley, and just maybe try and get that on the calendar sooner than later, because I know you guys have busy schedule, and just trying to find a day that works for y'all, works for that class or whatever.
Yeah, we were close to losing the snow, I think, last time.
We were.
It didn't take much. It was, we had
Yeah.
a lot of snow. It's gone quickly out
And just look at how this winter's going. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll send you an email,
Yeah.
and we can try
there,
to
so.
figure out what.
I'm in contact with Dudley all the time.
The other thing I was gonna say, and this I don't know if this is important or not, because I think it's just gonna happen anyway. I feel like I've noticed an uptick of people bear booting at Prospect Farm this year. I have seen more than usual. Usually you see a couple people.
It is posted not to, but
Yeah.
I've seen the same thing.
It's-
Fortunately, it's firm, so they're not punching through, but, yeah.
I just feel like more than any other year this year I've seen, and maybe I'm just up there more because that's where the snow is right now.
Have you met people barefooted?
I have. I stopped the other day. I hadn't been, and then yesterday I finally got to a point where I stopped and just kind of told people, I was like, hey, just so you know,
Are they just walking out and back, or were they hiking in to get in?
They were, I've been seeing them on the Quail Trail, and they were just, the people that I stopped I've seen people on Boggy Brook that were not hiking, they were just walking,
Yeah.
and then I've seen people on Quail Trail as well. Because I know, if you're hiking that trail, if you're hiking the Wildcat, yeah, Marshbrook Hutmans, or I can't remember if it's Bog Brook at that point. Yeah, you have to cross, there's the trail, but then you would have to walk across, after the bridge, right by the bridge.
You have to get to the trail.
Yeah, you have to get to the trail, exactly. But I've seen people kind of pass that point. And so I don't know what it is. It's just
The quail is surprising in a way. It's like,
yeah, there were people on the Quail Trail, and I stopped and said, oh, you
I think it's
on
just
this
people
trail?
that want to walk, and it's posted, right, when you come down, no
Yeah.
walking. I mean, you can snowshoe.
Mm. Everyone I've seen so far that have been walking have been micro spikes kind of thing.
Yeah.
so
So I
they're
just-
not, they're not post-holing or anything like that.
Well, they weren't because the snow was so cold and there was only 2 inches of, it wasn't much. But, I did stop and just say, hey, if you punch through a skier to catch that, that would break someone's leg. Just be careful, please.
I think you'd be surprised that they're not supposed to be walking out during the winter.
Yeah.
You can snowshoe, and once they get onto the Quail on the Forest Service, or they get onto Boggy Brook on Forest Service land, the Ski Touring Foundation has special use permit at that time of year. So it's not legal.
Right.
Have they, I don't want to go down in the weeds on this, but did they have to revise their special use permit when they relocated the trailhead for Bog Brook and Wildcat Valley?
It gets confusing
Or
because
Wildwood?
when they built the new trailhead, you remember it used to be down on Valentine's property, down at the turn just before you went up to,
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted it moved out of there because he was using that as his encampment. Now he's moved his encampment further back to where the parking lot is. But the town and the Forest Service agreed to make that the parking lot, and they moved the trail off of Ballantyne's onto the Forest Service land, which takes off. So in theory, the hiking trail takes off and then drops down and then crosses those rivers. Of course, some of those are a little bit tough to cross in the
Yeah.
winter because there's no,
Yeah.
and yet people are hiking all over the whites that are crossing the same kind of streams like that, so it's not a big deal. But that's where the official trail is, and it takes off from the summer parking lot and then goes off the Forest Service Road. And then, of course, you cross those twice when you're going out to Boggy Brook, depending on which hiking trail you want.
Mhm.
But those are the official hiking trails.
Yeah, more than anything, I just thought maybe if people are up there, just kind of, maybe something to note or keep your eyes out for. I don't know, I mean, this is like, you know. just
I
my
will talk
observations.
to Ellen, because she, you can post it in e-news and that'll get to a certain group, but then, and I mean, we've had some problems as well with people mountain biking on the wave complex. Yeah. And see, that's not even legal in the conservation easement, and the Ski Touring Foundation got that property.
I haven't read the trail sign of the parking lot forever, but I assume it says like all of what you just said on the.
When you come down the little steep pitch,
Yeah,
there's a sign.
Yeah.
Big red sign that says, "Don't walk."
Yeah, I just kind of go by it all.
But like the other thing is people take their dog shit, they put it in a plastic bag and then they put it on the side of the trail and then they leave it.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah,
And of course, they're putting it on Valentine's property, and that's a great way to get the whole thing shut down.
Hmm.
they do that at the falls, but it turns the.
Yeah, same thing, yeah.
That's nasty.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think you were kind of hinting on the complexity of that particular zone, because somebody might be going hiking
Yeah, well,
to go up and do the trail, or they could be coming back from someplace else, and then, so, that's why it gets tricky, you know, you could be getting to one person who actually,
Yeah,
whatever, started on Carter, started on Route 16, came through, and is like, what do you want me to do, turn around?
right.
But
Anyway,
we also know that there's
yeah.
all the people that are just,
Yeah, I have
Flat
some
out.
people.
what the Ski Touring Foundation tried to work out with the Forest Service was, because some people do hike into Carter, you know, and they want to access those, and they don't want to do the real trail because of the stream crossings, is a minimum, they gotta be using snowshoes.
Mhm.
And they don't need a pass if they're going up. But anybody's just going up there and walking or snowshoeing, and they get onto the special use, you know, in theory, they're supposed to have two things. They're supposed to have a Jackson Pass during the winter, because Jackson's paying for the special use permit, just like Wildcat or Attitash. And most of Boggy Brook is not on the town land. Anybody can snowshoe for free in town, or ski for free if they're a resident on the town property at Prospect, if you remember when we went through this.
Yeah.
But most people don't realize most of what they're skiing on
right, so
is
just,
on special use permit land with the Forest Service, not on town land. Unless you're going to Hall's Ledge, that's all on town land.
Mhm. I haven't seen any walkers this year, which is amazing.
Oh, that's good, I feel like I've seen some.
I've seen the tracks, I haven't seen the people, but yeah, if you come back. Fortunately, they're walking on the side of the track, they're not
Mhm.
walking. Some years you get them, they're just, you know, social walking 3-4 abreast, and they're, like at Whitaker Woods, they're walking in the track, and
Yeah.
Well, you
I was
know-
impressed with Whitaker Woods this year, because they have like a new sign. And that maybe I knew this, maybe I didn't, but they have like, basically they skate groom the walking path. That's separate than the skiing trails,
Hmm.
you know, which is hard to do at Prospect Farm.
Yeah.
Like I was impressed with Whitaker Woods, that there's a map that like clearly delineates it, and that it's skate groomed so that it's easy walking.
I had heard about that, I hadn't seen it this year, but I heard about that they had designated walking or skiing.
Yeah, it basically does like the circumference
That's
of it.
cool.
all. It
So
kind of
instead
does,
of
like,
fighting
what-
it, they.
'Cause that gets
they
chaotic in there
allocate it,
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know who has it right away. The one other thing on the Prospect, and this is, well, for Pam, because we've had our discussion about signage and what stops people from parking, is we were up there skiing. The parking lot had gotten filled up, say, I don't know, 8:45-ish on Sunday or Saturday. Maybe it was both. And I went to leave, and right in the turnaround, where it's full on, no parking, no parking, no parking, no parking. 2 New Hampshire resident, or 2 New Hampshire license plates vehicles parked. like, so blatantly. I just thought.
In the, like, the little, like, past the,
So yeah, if you're coming down from,
yeah.
just
See, the
where
town
where
plows
the
up
town
to the-
plows, it's
Yeah,
like the
And then from
turnaround.
there on, the ski joint pays for the parking.
Right, and it's,
Wow, that's pretty clear.
and the way, and the way that they were parked was just, I mean, there was no, like, there's no way they didn't see the signs. Clearly they didn't care. They didn't, as if they parked there to make room for somebody else to even come in and help us, like, hey, we could fit 3 here. It was just full on, just boom.
If you'd
boom.
called Pearlie, they would have gone and told them. so.
And I thought, like, okay, I mean, that's ridiculous, because that is the town's turnaround. Like, somebody's relying for life safety that a vehicle can get up there guaranteed and be able to do whatever they have to do. And immediately I thought of Pam and our signage and, you know,
Towing.
would it tow?
Uh-huh.
No. I'm just telling you that no one cared. Like, that
Right.
didn't, you could have said anything. Like, when you park like that, you're like, I'm going skiing.
Yeah,
And that's what's happening right now.
Because that's a problem, because the only real skiing is
Yeah.
Prospect.
Yeah.
And it's been wicked good.
Yeah.
No one even got the car. They were
but they could walk in, couldn't they?
But
Park
that
down the
lower
road.
parking area,
Both of those on the weekends
Wasn't
again.
entirely full, but it doesn't mean that a car.
But
Yeah.
frequently, both lots are full.
Yeah, oh yeah, and so it's a revolving door, like, just because there was a spot then didn't mean there was a spot when they parked, but, you know, I mean, I did expect to see plates from, another country.
Actually, if you want to go
It's not
ski, they'll probably be grooming Windy Hill up in Bald Lane Woodland.
like- Again, that was good.
Yeah, and just to pull off, because when they sell tickets here, which is what pays for a lot of the grooming, they have to refund tickets when people go out and can't find a parking spot and they come back. I'm really getting,
I was at Wendy the other day, it was really good.
yeah. It's painful for the Ski Joint Foundation right now. 'cause-
Yeah,
they're
yeah, good thing I didn't know that.
Well, they lost the whole Christmas week, basically,
Yeah.
Did they make a loop at Windy Hill? I know it's off the topic. Is it
No,
connected?
it looked like it was, no, because of the
Oh,
logging.
the
that's going
logging on the, yeah.
So on Saturday, I went up and I went as far as the spur and then I went down a little bit and then it got, like, you come down that real steep part and then it was like real thin.
Hmm.
And so I turned around and came back.
Hmm.
Um,
Here's that
But,
drainage.
yeah, it was that drainage was like wide open and it was like real wet and open
Yeah.
after that. And I didn't go that far today.
So you started out Woodland,
Went Bald Land and went towards the spur. So like doing the big loop counterclockwise.
yeah.
And I went to the spur and then going,
When you take a left at the spur,
take a left at the
you're
spur.
at Woodland.
Oh, yeah, Woodland, went down the big hill. And then a little ways down there, there's like a drainage and there was like open water, like running. And then past that, there was like more bare ground than I wanted to like. mess with.
South facing right there for
Yeah.
the other part.
But it was great. I mean, it was great. I mean, it shouldn't be great. The winter's been terrible. It's still
Yeah,
great.
it snow's been good up there.
Anyway, sorry, that's way off topic.
Not really.
okay, Jackson Falls.
Yeah, I just want to finish. I will try to put a draft together, sort of like what we did with Prospect, which would follow that same kind of format of, the background, the conditions from the land was given to the town, just so that we get it all together.
Is that for the falls?
I'll do that for the
Okay,
falls
cool.
as well, and I'll put a draft together. That's why I want to get the hydrology study and the rest of that stuff, but then if you can recirculate to us what's on the Google Drive, I can take a look there. And then I try to get that in the next meeting or two as a draft back. And then I think we can kind of hammer out what we think about picnic tables and that kind of stuff in it at that point.
It looks great. Before the snow fell, I spent some time just kind of poking around. I think it's just, every time I go there, I feel like we're doing a pretty good job of improving it.
But I think it's worth asking the town to plow out the parking lots. They have not been plowed out. I don't know
Yeah,
if
it
they
doesn't
have.
really make sense. Why not?
Yeah, they had this afternoon when I drove by.
No, they
And
just,
I can't
Yeah,
remember-
they've been slow, like on Cameron Drive where the fire pond is, normally they plow that out for access. They haven't hit a lot of that stuff, but there's a lot of people that wanna park there, and they're doing the snowbank, but I think we should make a request to the selectmen that lot, people should be able to enjoy the lot.
yeah,
and legally park.
when I thought about that too, and the only reason I thought maybe it's great that it's not is just for when we get those strange rain scenarios we get with the frozen ground, and that was my only thing. I was like,
Yeah.
well, maybe it's probably good, it's protected from these strange
Give it a
frozen
break.
weather patterns we get, but the reality is people seem to be trying to park, and it's silly that, I mean, I saw people in the Jackson parking spot, and it's like, they weren't from town, but I'm like, gosh, I hope you don't get a ticket, there's no place to park, but,
Yeah,
you know, that's parked, that's plowed.
I mean, it
So
also
that's-
seems hard to plow it if it's a big snow winter in the main lot, because they, you know, the way they plow it, it kind of berms up, so eventually.
Yeah, they're gonna push you against
Parking
the
like
fence.
against like a giant berm, because they kind of, I don't know if they removed that section this year that they normally take out, and I've been driven by
I
this
think
much.
it did.
Sometimes they can like.
well, even if they put it in, you could at least legally parallel park there.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
usually not a lot of cars, but.
Yeah, yeah, just an improvement upon what it is right now, 'cause
I feel like in the spring, like when the big rain comes, you always see like the cars parallel parked in a giant bank and like someone trying to teeter over
Yeah.
and taking a picture of the runoff on the other side.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if they, when I drove by today, I noticed that, and I was like, well, do they usually plow a lot? I couldn't remember.
feel like they do.
Because there were two cars and they were both parked like in bad spots.
Yeah.
Like coming up the hill, they were both like, people were like getting out of the car and I kind of had to like,
They're trying to be legal.
they were trying to and there just was no.
And it's just
kind of
dangerous.
big frozen.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
normally like, usually, I feel like it used to be like within the week after a storm, right? Like they never plow it during a storm.
Right.
Yeah.
They're doing the tidying up. You know.
That's my thought as well, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all,
And can I just clarify from some comments I made at the last meeting about planting there? The areas I'm thinking of planting, I can certainly graph it out for you. They're like 6 foot by 6 foot or a strip here. It's not like doing the whole thing, trying to, you know, make a big deal out of it. It's just that there's certain areas that I think would really benefit from having, you know, more plantings, less wood chips.
Mhm.
It's not big areas.
Mhm.
Well, I think if we put this falls thing together, we can just designate within it the areas that we really want to maintain as vegetated.
That'd be good, and like you said, by next time, if we do want to order anything, I was thinking maybe try some ferns in this area, just in one area, that we'd probably have to get an order in, that's all. So, just some pre-planning, that's all.
Would the new plan also show, sounds kind of silly, but maybe some of the old, excuse me, old paths that were just adamant about getting shut down too? You know, like just, that's the path, it's no longer being used, like, it still seems like we sort of, I don't want to say lose that battle. but
Well,
it's
I think we
frustrating.
firm those things up. in the
Yeah, just be
plan.
like, that's not a path, it's not on the map, it's not a path, it's
And
done.
Yeah, and I think with the opportunity to put a little bit more sod in, you could close off a lot of paths, where we've
Yeah.
already been working on
Because
it.
I think that's what feels nice when you go up there now, is that you just get to focus on the path and the river instead of just like side shoots and just, why would I want to go in here? You go in there, like, this looks like a place a person goes to the bathroom or something. It's like, I don't want to go down another one. I can't stand it when you go to places and you get on these little side shoots. This is just people that are following someone else who didn't know where they're going. And it just tramples it down, and so you do it again. So that's always been my feeling, is that we used to be so gentle about it, and it's worked, but big.
Until people come along and just keep throwing the brush off.
Yeah,
It's like,
remember
put
they-
the brush in,
We
throw
throw
it
it,
off.
right,
and
we
then-
throw it out, we put it in, make it bigger.
Well, I think when we put this management plan together, we put down where, these are where the official paths are.
Yeah,
And then thereafter, we can determine how to,
right.
without trying to write in here, put ferns here, put stuff there, but if we have, these are the official paths,
And
yeah.
I found those little pieces of fencing that came off the big fence, you stick them there and people tend to respect those. I mean, I'd put them back in every once in a while, but mostly people just, you know, wouldn't walk down those
Mhm.
paths. Just
Yeah,
had
it's
that
great.
little short green fencing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought they were,
Yeah.
and they're not obtrusive, I mean, they're not.
It's not like saying, you know, no way, it's just kind of like, this is a suggestion. you know.
yeah, that's your conscience.
Mm.
okay.
And I suspect the type of people that go to the falls aren't the hardy people that are going up to the ANC, you know, they're like, ooh, that could be tough getting over that fence.
This is probably something that's already been talked about and decided on, and I just either forgot or wasn't paying attention at the time, but when we were talking about putting the new signs in, like the nicer ones, did we talk to the road agent about where those should be, just because if we spend money for nicer signs about where they need to be, so they don't get slammed by the plows. I was just thinking that when I was looking at it the other day, like how all the signs are currently like starting to like get knocked over, and I just thought, like, if we spend money to put in nice signs, I just wanna make sure that we don't put them too close to the road, or we don't put them somewhere that they're gonna get smashed, accidentally by the plow. So I was looking at it, and, I mean, I know the ones up there, they got a little bend, they can bend a little bit and bend back, but if we go with wood or whatever, it won't have that same kind of flexibility. So just something I had thought in the back of my head, I didn't know if that was something.
Yeah, and some of those that are tilting, I don't think it's because of the plow, I think it's just, they kind of put them in, then you get freestyle cycles thing.
Oh, okay.
They were starting to list even before
Oh,
the
okay.
plowing, and some of them may be hit by the plow and the snow, but I agree with you, if we're gonna put them in, we should make sure that they're set back enough that they're still visible.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously visible, but vice versa. It would be stupid to put them on wooden posts and then plow down.
Mm.
Yeah. The post one, hold as well as the metal. I didn't realize we were replacing the posts as well as the signs. I thought it was the nice sign on the middle post.
I think we should, for two reasons. One is, those signs are heavier,
Yeah.
and it just would be more attractive. I mean, right now, it's just very industrial looking.
It'd be nice if they kind of match the fence.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna be brown, I mean, I
Yeah.
showed you, they're just brown with white.
And then the post would be, what do you expect?
I think we're wood, and I think
We should get some pressure treated wood, yeah.
Gary Spears is who I wanted to talk to about doing that. I don't think it should be us. It's not as easy as it looks.
No, it was, like talking about, Gary, or the highway agent, the road agent, putting stuff in.
Mhm.
So I wasn't sure if we talked about that either.
Yeah.
I mean, my feeling is, let's get the signs made, get the wood, and then go talk to the selectmen,
Mhm.
because that's our access to the highway. We do that in the spring, but the selectmen are gonna be focused in on the budget right now. The highway department's not gonna be focused on that. And everything we agree to, probably like us, we can get between now and then. I think the best time to go to them is
11 minutes.
like April.
Yeah, I got like 2 minutes. Depends if I go with that or that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will, I guess, send an email to the select board about, just asking about the plowing there. And that's all for now on that. Gray's Inn, anything?
There's a whole bunch of
Blow down?
blow down right now.
Okay.
It's mid-sized stuff. I went through there yesterday, but I never saw. It's dark.
There's a lot of stuff that's come back from last.
Yeah, it's in general.
The Ski Touring Foundation snowshoe trails there.
Mhm.
All right, sorry, I gotta go. Sorry, everybody.
We're just waiting.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Good
Good
night.
night, see ya. All right.
That's the only thing I have for Grace.
Have they groomed, does that get groomed, or is that part of the town,
Which,
the Gray's Inn, are they?
they do groom that, and right now, it's tough to even get over
Right,
to get here, but they do groom that periodically, yes. And then they'll go over to Cornell Inn and over to Graustein, that area. But, I mean, it gets walked in heavily.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets walked on usually before it gets skied.
Yeah.
But it kind of, I mean, what else are you gonna do? It's, I don't know, I asked that question, I was kind of having that conversation with myself yesterday when I was out there. Just wondering, like, what, I wasn't aware, what is the final rule on that area? Walking, biking, snowshoeing, skiing, what happens in the winter there?
On the town land, when it's groomed, that is dog accessible as well as Prospect.
Right, for dog and ski.
And the
Can
Ski
people
Touring
walk on it?
Foundation had sort of given up on trying to enforce walking there because
Okay.
they put the, you know, the book plaques around there and so on. And the ski, you know, the Ski Touring Foundation would prefer that there's walking there. There would be snowshoeing. But, there's always, I mean, they've got limited staff as to.
Yeah. Yeah, in some ways, there's limited walking, you know, if it's marginal,
Yeah.
you know, when it's not.
Yeah, I have to mention way more people are skiing the wave or something else that it matters to be.
Well, there is a need, like Whitaker Woods, of grooming for places for people to walk.
Yeah.
But, that's not what the Ski Touring
I
Foundation.
was gonna say, whose role is that, you know?
They struggle to groom what they need to groom, and to pay for it, forget.
Right. Okay.
That's it up there.
Okay.
Maybe that's something that we could think about, that there could be some coordination between using Jackson Ski Touring's equipment and the town, maybe paying for some of that to provide some walking trails locally. Don't know.
There are, I mean, like the Ski Touring Foundation owns the Holcomb property, and there's a whole network of, and of course Tin Mountain has the snowshoe trails up there as well. I mean, there are places in town, but those are usually snowshoed in. And you can, I mean, once they're compacted, you can microspike those a lot. It's not like, but right now there isn't a good area.
It's pretty thin.
Yeah, I feel like I understand ski touring's position on like their critical core trails.
Yeah.
But like the Riverwalk Trail is posted no walking. I've never seen anyone skiing there.
That's why they use with the grammar school, the one field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people walk from the inn there, so there's always footprints there.
Yeah.
And so, like, I suppose I understand the need to have consistency in having things posted. But if there was a way, I don't know, because I guess there's places to walk in town
On the street.
on the street, but yeah, just.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like,
We're not like Whitaker Woods, I guess.
you want to have people with common sense on top of that too, then you're asking a lot, doesn't it?
Well, you have a lot, I mean, I know where you're coming, there's a lot of guests like at Wentworth, and Eagle is the same problem. A lot of guests there aren't skiing, they want to walk, what do? They walk down
Right.
to Eagle Mountain, and
Right.
walk on the ski trails, and that's a problem.
Right.
But, I mean, the only way right now that they can groom to get over to this network is to quasi-legally come across the bridge and then start coming from that point on. Because there's no,
I guess this is on another note. I mean, what's the relationship between Nesselnook, the town land, and Jackson Ski Touring? Not that they're all connected in any way, but that network that's there, it's kind of, there's signage as if it's part of the system, but it's not.
it used to be, there's a lot of the old signs out there. Ski Touring used to groom down there, some of you may remember.
Yeah,
But
way down.
they don't groom down through there. And of course, Nesselnook now runs the sleighs all around the bottom there.
Yeah.
That's, and Nesselnook doesn't own all of that. Some of it now is owned by the Nesselnook Condominium Association. It's a,
Right.
and I don't know if you've met Mr. Sear or not,
Oh,
but yeah, he's at the tail end of,
He's interesting, to say the least.
It's about 65 acres there, I think, last plan I looked at.
Say that again?
65 acres,
Of undeveloped land or just total?
just total.
I don't know.
But
if-
there might be less now.
Feels like it's
I was
There's some of that
looking
that went over because they broke the condos off from, and I don't know how
at-
much.
Well,
Schools
then there's
are
like-
more.
like
I was just
Heartbreak-
looking at a plan, I forget what year it was.
Well, you can look at the tax maps and show you, but yeah,
But like Heartbreak Hill, you know, like that pitch,
yeah.
wasn't that supposed to be, that was logged to be developed, I thought, is what they intended.
Yeah, I mean, because there's a whole snowshoe network that you
Oh,
go
yeah.
all the way over to,
And you can get the, with,
Christmas,
Christmas Mountain,
Yeah.
yeah, you get up on get onto,
You can get up onto that big ledge that looks down,
yeah, Wigglesworth.
yeah.
It's a pretty good network in there.
I mean, I walk that a lot in the summer, but
Yeah.
it's kind of scary because you get on that ledge and there's a little pipe
Big
fence
old
and
pipe
stuff.
fence and
It's
stuff, yeah.
a suicide jump.
All the ropes, all the different ropes.
Yeah.
There's about 4 different ways up and down that thing too, if you really find everything. It's a neat little zone. But it's so strange as you go past, if you go past the Mystery House loop, nothing changes kind of in terms of feel.
I think there is a sign that says you're leaving.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just sort of, and they've been doing stuff out there, they know some of the groups, so you just kind of like,
And I think it shows up on the Jackson Snowshoe Trail Network.
Mhm.
But,
okay,
yeah.
that's probably the extent of it then.
And he's had a good relationship with the Ski Touring Foundation, but once you're on his property, that's his gig.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else for that? Any community garden?
Got a couple new members.
That's good. Are you, is that at full capacity now, or do you still have open
I have
spots?
one more person who has to decide they want to renew, but
Okay,
otherwise that's everybody.
okay.
We got our soil test back. It was pretty funny because it's very high in calcium, very high pH,
Mm.
which is pretty funny.
What number? What was your?
Oh, that's high in calcium and behind pH.
Yeah, so it was like 20 in calcium. It
Oh,
was
I thought
like
your
pH was like 7.5.
Yeah.
That's not high, that's just above neutral.
Yeah, but it's for
Oh,
growing. You
7.8,
want
like
you want
7.5, 7.8.
6.5 is.
And then we had
good for
very high potassium, very low lead, for below, anything that would be, we'd have to do anything for.
But you brought soil in, right?
Well, we used the ocean compost.
Well,
Right?
that explains your calcium.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does, doesn't it? Do you think that affects the pH?
Sure, I know it does.
Is that lime? Is it calcium and lime in the
It's
shell?
seashell, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I figured. I figured that, but it was just kind of funny getting the test back. 'cause I
That's
think in the
usually
fall-
a positive thing, unless you're growing blueberries or something.
Right, you want to be acidic. But
So
you
I
want
think
like 6.5, 6.8, I think is that good number for growing most things.
So basically, they said, we're not supposed to have we can't have more organic matter because we have too much.
Right.
So somebody was suggesting that maybe we should add some sand.
Yeah, you can. Green
So we're
sand.
supposed to add a bunch of sulfomag or something like that.
Yeah, sulfur matter, yeah.
And I think it was soybean meal or blood meal, something like that.
That's all nitrogen.
Yeah.
Well, I think you'd wanna,
You want to sweeten.
you wanna go, well, it depends what people wanna grow.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
What works for some plants doesn't work for others.
So I'll send you guys the soil test if you're interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just kind of
If
interesting.
you wanna grow blueberries, you want an acidic soil. If you wanna grow,
Right.
I forget, potatoes or whatever, and then you want more calcium
Right.
and not acidic soil, yeah.
But our stuff wasn't growing that great this summer, so it definitely needs some amendment.
Mm.
Something's going on. I think the sand might be a good idea.
Okay, well, that's good. Wildcat River, I don't have anything. I mean,
No, I was just trying to think about that.
Conservation easements,
Mine's in.
How many easements does the town hold easement as opposed to we're doing it? Like the Peppers easement is an easement with the town, it's not like with Upper Saco, but do we have others? There were a number of those that got put in.
I know Laura Gabriel might be the town.
Yeah, all the ones that we report for spin-off, the town owns, and
Mm.
spin-off is the, I always forget the
It's
phrase.
The second,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the second is-
Executory.
Yeah,
Executor.
and then there's 2, I think, that the town owns with no one else.
I think the Peppers is that way.
No, the Peppers
No,
is one of the spin-off ones also. The
It
town
is a
owns
spin-off.
those, Yeah. Yeah,
That's the only reason.
And they all
to do
look
that.
like they went in when the wild and scenic designation was on the
Yeah.
horizon, you know.
What is the town's attitude about taking more conservation easement? Somebody's asked me, I was just curious.
I think, I mean, it depends.
Yeah, it depends who you
I
ask.
know when the Gabriels were the last people to do it, right? And I forget if the town ended up taking it or if they went through Upper Saco to do it.
The Gabriels.
Not the
Laura?
Gabriels, sorry.
The Hayes Farm?
No, the farm.
Oh, Tilneys.
The Tilneys, thank you.
Tilneys.
Yeah.
But they were already in,
They were in the town.
They had the, was it Spinif or?
Yeah.
Yeah, they already had.
They were like a
Spinif.
town-owned one that's been it, but I think it would depend on what we all say.
the one where it became, I guess, where the town,
So Tilney's Spinif is a secondary, like with a peck? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So that, yeah.
Yeah, the Peppers,
I do the Burgess
Yeah.
Highland.
both Burgess ones are the town owns and Spinif is the backup. Same with Tin Mountains, the actual property of Tin Mountain, the town owns that conservation easement except for and then Spinif is the backup. Mike does that one.
What
And then
about the,
Tilneys. I think it's
Dundee
also-
Forest? What will that be?
The Dundee Forest, Upper Saco Valley will own outright, mostly, I believe.
They'll own the land out there.
Yeah.
Right, the one that became tricky and created some, I guess, frustration for some people was the Hayes Farm, where there's a group of people that wanted to stay in the town and have the town
For the land
have
trust?
an easement. in
Land
that.
trust.
So who makes that decision, the selectmen?
I think
Well, the owner does effectively.
Well, yeah, but if the owner comes and says, I want the town to hold the easement, then the town has to be willing to accept the easement.
Yes.
And is that a decision that's been, I would assume the request comes to the Conservation Commission and makes a recommendation to the selectmen, is that?
Yeah.
Sort of how it worked, yeah.
And I think we're much better at doing our annual monitoring now. For a while, we felt like we weren't keeping up with what we had, and we weren't wanting to have more of what we couldn't do.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, we could, unless it was going to be a contentious easement for some reason.
Right, and that's kind of how the Hayes Farm became contentious.
Well, and also there was money involved in that, right?
Yeah.
My
yeah.
limited memory was,
But for
one family member came and said, I don't want to spend money, but I want to do this.
Yeah, but I
What the town
think.
can.
So they wanted
were
the town to
led
take
down.
it, because most, like Upper Saco, that if they take it, they want a,
Hayes originally, I thought, they wanted to go to Upper Saco Valley, but they wanted the town to pay all the fees that you're supposed to go in to have it
For the
monitored in
stewardship.
perpetuity
Yeah,
by
the stewardship.
the stewardship
Yeah.
funds. And we were, at my memories, we were willing to think about that because it was an important chunk, but we didn't want to set the precedent that the town would be wanting to spend that money for every piece of land going into conservation with different
Right.
third parties.
Well, there's two elements to that. Element one is who's paying to have it registered and surveyed and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the stewardship fund is something that the town may request. Most nonprofits, land trusts that are accepting now won't accept it without a stewardship fund that goes with it, because they have to do what you're doing for free. But, because the town has never collected a stewardship fund, has it?
Not that I know of, no.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the town.
Of course, the Conservation Committee could say we accept more, but we would require the stewardship fund so that there's a fund that comes to the Conservation Commission to help
Yeah,
monitor them, either, through volunteer time from the staff or hire somebody.
yes. Yeah, because I presume all the chunks that we monitor now, like all of the landowners must have had them surveyed before they gave the easements to the town, and they must have paid for all that.
Yeah, you have to pay to get it registered and all that sort of stuff up there. Okay.
They were doing a lot with GPS. I don't know if they did it with these, but I know Upper Saco Valley for a while was using GPS.
Yeah.
Not necessarily survey.
I know like the Peppers easement, it's definitely like the old deed, and then they like updated it specifically right before the
Yeah.
Peppers gave the easement to the
Yeah.
town. I actually reread it.
Okay. There's no new wetlands. Issue any wetlands?
No, I haven't heard anything.
One quick new thing, I get, and this kind of just jogged my memory, I think it's the we have a membership with the New Hampshire Conservation Commission Association, I believe, and they frequently do kind of development that covers topics like this, and they're always in the middle of the day, so I can't ever do them, but if that would be anyone else have interest in that, or I can just forward those when they come in.
These are webinars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say circulate them and people,
Okay.
do you know if they post those so that you can watch them at another time?
They do. I don't know if they do it with all of them.
Yeah.
They had it at their annual meeting that they did that, and that was kind of like a full day thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, if that is something people, I can't do the live events in the middle of the day,
Yeah.
so. But I'll do that. And the other thing is the Jackson Riverwalk Foundation. We're looking at getting bids to do a resurfacing on the walking path from the covered bridge to the fire pond, or not the covered bridge, but from the stone bridge, to just bring that up to the original surface material that it was before it got washed out. We're still trying to get bids. We also, Recon Trail Design did such a good job with following up and working on the kiosk, and he came out and looked at it and seems very keen on fitting it into his schedule this year, so.
Cool.
um,
What's the material that gets put down? Or is it outside?
Well, originally it needed to be the, like, Rotten Rock,
Ledge pack?
yeah, like pack, because it was designed to be ADA accessible,
Right.
and the gravel material that they put on after it washed out, it can't roll across it, so.
Yeah.
And
Who owns the land underneath? Is that part town and part?
well, the town holds an easement across the property that runs on the Snowflakes side.
Okay,
And then there's the part that's on the town property,
so the town has a trail easement with Snowflake.
yes. And,
Does the town own the pond, is that what you're saying?
That's the park.
yeah, so that's the town. So there's a steel post kind of that splits at that point somewhere. And the East Side Walk Foundation has funds dedicated to maintaining the pathway and the gardens there. And I think it was kind of, it was probably quite active in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I think just a lot of people that were active in it kind of aged out of the volunteer work for it. But that's the big thing, aside from just maintaining the benches and the view sheds there.
Yeah, I was somewhere recently and they had a surface that was put down on the trail, next to water. And it must have been about 6 feet wide. It was obviously a firm surface, and it was almost like it was embedded in bits of, like mulch almost. But it was really nice to
You see the
walk
last
on.
part?
Is it what?
What was it? Is embedded with what?
It was like almost like a little bit of bark. So it looked natural, but it was firm. It would be very easy to push anything on that. And it didn't look really fake.
Hmm.
It was very firm though, about 6 feet.
Where was this?
This was in Massachusetts.
Hmm.
I'll take a picture next time. It's nice. It's got a nice material because it blends in once, get a few pine needles falling down around it. It looks good. Be pretty permanent.
The times I've seen that, it hasn't been probably wheelable, like a mix of bark mulch and stone to kind of tone down that stone look.
Yeah, it's different. I'll take a picture.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's just on the horizon for this year. I don't think anything ever went through a committee process before. They just did it. But.
So that's a selectman appointed committee, is that correct?
No.
Or is it
No, it's a
It's,
chief selected the board.
yeah, well, it's the East Side Walk.
Yeah.
It was its own thing. It went with the funds.
Isn't that Larry Bana at one point?
He was the last person. It was Peggy Frost that started it. But Larry was the most recent caretaker for that.
And is that fund through the trustees of,
It's its own thing.
is its own? Okay.
It's its own pile of money that, at one point they discussed, at one point it was a 501, and then because they didn't have enough expenses, they just converted back to a charitable trust, so it's a private foundation, so they don't have any fundraising or tax deductible status, and they at one point talked about just giving the funds to the town, and that was causing a little bit of drama, but that was a while ago. It's,
And then that would be part of the conservation commission's duties? I don't know.
well, that's the weird overlapping boundaries, is like, well, the Conservation Commission has an interest there, and Larry Bama worked with Larry Siebert there and working on things, so, you know, they've both things have operated together at one point. It's never been super formal, or I think it's just people have just done.
I think part of it was there was potentially loss of some control. Like you were saying, there was no board. I mean, there was no, I want to say oversight, but there was no discussion. Things just got done, and I think if you hand it over in a certain way, you start to lose some of that control.
Well, this commission probably has a say on once it gets onto the town land, town park, but it's a
Well,
question of whether, if you
yeah,
have another group that's already doing it well, why?
Yeah, more like.
But if the other group is tired and exhausted, then it's a
What's
question
been on
of
the
where does it
ground?
go?
yeah. Well, it's one of those things where operating, where people, to do the work, to get the permits from DES, the town has to sign on it, because the town is an
Right.
interest holder on both
Yep.
things, and the property owner, and the foundation can facilitate or be in the middle of that, or most likely pay to have that work done, but the town does have to be involved because they have to sign off on it, so.
Well, I don't know if this commission wants to go there or not, or where you are, but one of the things is if that group wanted to disperse, they could put that money into the town, just like the Jackson Falls or the Prospect Farm. And then it would be up to this commission to oversee or to hire or to do whatever's necessary, since it holds the easements and the land. I'm not advocating. That's what we should do, and if that group wanted to keep it, I would argue have them keep it. If they were
Yeah.
going out of existence, then as a commission, we probably have some responsibility to ask, how is it going to be managed?
And how many people are on the foundation now? 2?
3.
It's called Caitlin and Ben.
Well, there's,
I get mailers.
yeah, Brian is on the
I was
board.
reminded that I was on the board a couple of years ago.
You were voluntold.
Tell it, is it? I went to those meetings, but they didn't contact me because they didn't like my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm going back.
There are some, it's,
I think it's improving and seems to be on a good path in my eyes.
yeah, there are eyes on it, and I've also gotten, through the town, people who donated to build the benches there, of seeing that to be maintained. And I think this was part of the reason why they didn't want to commingle the funds, was just they wanted, or not have the town be responsible for maintaining these benches, which people are considering as sort of memorials or, so we're,
That's a problem.
yes. But I just wanted to be as transparent as possible, because I am involved with paying or pursuing that to get that done. And the permitting, as I read it, because it's a public pathway that the town has an interest in, it's not a new pathway, it's just existing maintenance on a right-of-way. All the permitting can be done in the lower classification permitting by notice. So the town will get notice that the work is happening, and it will go through the select board, so.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd put that out there.
Sounds great.
Excellent.
Yeah, trails are under a different set of rules than other things, you know.
Yeah, publicly accessible trails are kind of their own carve out there. And it's kind of just right under the square footage requirements of requiring a more extensive environmental review process, so.
That's the alteration of terrain.
Yes.
You don't want to go there if you won't clear it.
So could that trail be skate tracked and then used for walking, or not? It couldn't.
State what?
Skate.
In other
Oh.
words, so, yes,
Well, yes, that path is part, like, it's groomed, but the sign now at the stone bridge is that there's no walking. It's posted no walking, which is, I've never seen anyone ski there, but I've seen lots of people walk there.
Talk to Ellen.
Yeah, it rarely gets, it does get skied on, but it's,
It does get groomed, and
Yeah.
it looks nice when it's groomed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
fun when you can connect all the.
yeah, when you
groups
can connect the
overlap,
little
right?
pieces.
Yeah.
But again, it's a difficult thing to take away and say that you can't walk there. In my mind, is you know, just like,
I mean, I bet it was skied on a lot more once upon a time. Like,
yeah.
You know, that ski touring was still over here.
Oh yeah, when the ski touring was across the street, that was
Yeah,
land of lessons and all sorts of stuff.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anything else? Any other comments, Hank?
No.
Excellent.
The only other thing is the facility committee is meeting
This week,
tomorrow night,
yeah.
and it's open to the public. If you're curious to go over the survey.
Mm.
I was at 5, right? I think I was probably won't make that.
Yeah, not gonna be able to make that.
The survey was kind of open-ended.
Yeah. So I didn't want to put anything on that until we heard what the fallout on that was, so probably address that next month. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Perfect. Motion to, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.